Okay.
And if you need to, you can mute your microphone
Okay.
or shut your camera off, whatever you need to do. Sometimes that can get annoying if you have them on all the time. And just makes you feel like you have to be quiet and all that stuff.
Okay.
Jump in there anytime. Please stop me anytime I confuse you.
Okay.
We will go through it. In the class, there is a large paper that you're preparing at the end.
Right.
Every week you're trying to work toward, and it's all about kind of looking at yourself
Okay.
and where you're at financially. So when we look at insurance, you'll have a chapter about insurance, and then that week you work on that part of the paper. How is
Okay.
my insurance? Am I covered the way I should be? Is there something I should do differently about my insurance? There'll be chapters on credit cards. So you
Yeah.
look at how am I with credit cards? Each little piece of the puzzle. So by the end, you're not writing the paper, you're more taking all the pieces you did every week and putting them together as one paper.
Right.
So hopefully you won't feel like there's this big thing you got it done at the end because you've been working on it all along.
Okay. So like for the first week, what part of it do you think we should have did? Like our financial statements or something?
Kind of looking at where you're at, yeah, financial statements, so you can make like a little balance sheet. Here's
Mm.
what I currently have. Here's my bills that I currently have.
Okay.
Here's where I'm sitting. And another thing is to set out your goals. Start
Okay.
thinking, in a year I want to be doing this. In 5 years I want this.
Okay.
And kind of first short term and then long term goals,
Okay.
because later they'll ask you to look towards those.
Yeah, and I got that in the sheet from the first one that we did the first, yeah, the first week.
Great.
Okay.
And you're doing well. Um, oh, somebody's joining us here.
Yes, Doretta.
Hi, Doretta.
Hi.
Can you hear us okay?
I think she might be mute.
Yeah. Doretta, can you hear us okay? Here's a way I can, let's see. Let's do this and this. And then we'll try to chat with her. That's the button I was trying to hit. Are you able to hear me, Doretta?
Dorita, yes. I'm sorry.
Okay, great.
I'm looking crazy, but hi, everybody.
That's
Hi.
okay. This is Carmen.
Hey, Carmen.
Hi, I got family down there where you are.
You do? You guys gonna have to come on down, get some Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, I was just down there in August, so
Well, we
Yeah,
were
the weather is nice here.
good. Yeah, we're much warmer this week than we have been. And we're hearing 50 degrees on Friday. For you guys, that's not a big
crazy.
deal. But
What's that?
for you guys, that's not a big deal. But that's big news up here.
I know, right?
we excited about that 50 degrees. I am.
Oh, wow. I'm excited for you guys. I know it could get really, really cold there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it makes the roads nice. I drive to Grand Rapids from Lansing. That's about an hour drive, and I do it for a night class. So I'm
Wow.
coming home after we let class out about 10 o'clock. The other night I came out to my car covered in freezing rain. It was like a case of ice. And I'm thinking,
Oh, my
I
goodness.
do not want to be on these roads.
No, please don't. Not if you don't have to be.
And so when I see 50, that means there is no ice on any road.
Absolutely. You know, when it gets that way here, everything just closes down. Everything. I mean, from the stores, from the schools, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. We had a really bad ice storm a few years ago, and everything was just closed down. I mean, it was just horrible.
Mm-hmm. We had a bad one too, right at Christmas time. And there was so many branches. It was one of those where it froze. Of course,
Uh-huh.
freezing rain froze when it landed, but then the temperature stayed really low for days. So there was
Oh my
no
goodness.
chance of melting. and the tree branches, the power lines, everything came down. So it took a long time for everything to come back up.
Oh, wow. That's not good.
No. Well, let's take a look at one of the things you've got to do this week. It's called the Time Value of Money Worksheet. Hopefully you're seeing it on your screen.
Okay.
It is going to walk us through the concepts that you're going to see in Chapter 3. So even though it's a separate piece of paper that you're going to fill out and turn in, it's practice for Chapter 3.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand this. So, okay, so you said this here, where the first paragraph is in our book?
Yep, just a second. I'm going to switch screens with you here, and hopefully you're able to see Moodle here in your class.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So if you're in Moodle on that main screen where you see the news forum and the praise and prayer and all those things and the groups, down past Unit 1, then into Unit 2. So the stuff for this week, you're going to see something that says time value of money.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Click
Okay.
on it, and this document will be able to be downloaded. So the document we've been talking about, I'm going to switch back over there now.
Okay.
That's what'll be there at that link when you download.
Okay.
Okay, so we're downloading that.
Right, you're going to download it, you're going to type in it, and then you're going to save it and give it back to me.
Okay. And this exact document.
Yes. There's no
So the
sense
ones-
in creating something different. You can type right in this.
Okay, and so the ones that we work on tonight, then we'll kind of get a feel for it, and
Right.
that'll be the answers for
You'll
it.
already have some of the answers. We may get it all done tonight.
All right.
The
Right.
idea is that what you learn here will make your Chapter 3 homework go much better.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, the
Okay.
concept is actually kind of easy. Sometimes the math drives people nuts. That's why we're going to use an online calculator and not have to learn some crazy math formula.
So we're going to do it together?
We're going to do as much of it together as we can.
Okay, cool.
And those hopefully that watch the recording will get the benefit of doing it too. You
Okay, absolutely.
How
This is
many
so
people
unique.
don't watch the recording? I'm sorry, say it again.
I said this is so unique.
No, I really, you need that time. You need to be that kind of feeling like you're in the classroom, watching somebody do it on the board, getting a chance to ask questions, and then go
Absolutely.
home and do your homework. Well, that's kind of what we're going to pretend we're doing tonight.
That
Okay.
works for me.
Okay. Well, the first idea that we're going to talk about is having money in the bank account. So imagine here, it's down near the bottom of the first page. It says if you, maybe not. Here we go. It's on the second page. You have a certain amount of money in the bank. So like you have $5,000 today. You want to put it in the bank and leave it there for 8 years.
Mm.
And the bank is going to give you 8%. We're going to change the story and make it 10% in a minute. That's why there's 2 interest rates. But let's just go with the first one. So we got $5,000. Somehow we got the money, maybe an inheritance, maybe we won a contest, got the money, and we're just going to put it away for 8 years. We want to know how much will be there if the bank gives us 8% interest. Well, there's a couple ways you can do it. One is long and boring, but you can say $5,000, 8%, that's $400. So at the end of the first year, the bank would put $400 more in my account. Then I'd have $5,400.
Mm.
And that would sit there for another year. And then I'd have to figure out what 8% of that was and put that in the account. And I could keep doing that math over and over and over again.
Mhm.
Hmm.
You can see how annoying that would be, but it's possible to do.
Mhm.
So instead, we're going to go out to a website that's much easier to deal with. So again, I'm going to change screens on you. Hopefully make you. Let's see. Here we go. The website has a really ridiculous name. dinkytown.com. I know, I don't know who named it, but it is a great website for having calculators to do lots of stuff.
I know, as long as it works, right?
Right. So this is mentioned in Moodle when you click on the one for your textbook homework problems. They do mention Dinkytown and to go out there, but just to remember, the video will have a picture of it here too. So you go to dinkytown.com, and then you've got all these choices of calculators.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go to the finance one.
Okay.
When you click finance, then you still get all these different calculators to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
You want the second one, basic financial calculator. And the screen actually looks like a calculator screen.
Mm-hmm.
You get all the buttons. If you can't see this, if I'm kind of hidden behind the pictures of everybody, you can minimize the pictures of the other people doing this workshop with us, or sometimes that causes me problems. So if you need to move that around, but you're just going to type buttons. You can see as I'm typing random numbers here, they're coming up in the top right-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to clear that out. Obviously, we don't want these random numbers in there. And then we've got some special buttons down here that help us with interest rates.
Okay.
All the buttons are described down below with a little, here's why you use this button. But hopefully after we get through tonight, you won't need that. You'll be comfortable with it. So we're going to put in the information we know. We're going to put 5,000. So I'm typing 5,000. It shows up here, but then I tell it what that 5,000 is for. That's what I have in the present. So present value,
Okay.
$5,000. The minute I hit the PV, the 5,000 dropped into this box.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm going to tell it I want to leave it there for 8 years. So I type in 8 and go to the N, which is number of years, and an 8 shows up. And then for the interest rate, at also 8, I hit the I. And you don't need to use the percent sign. It already knows whatever number you give it is a percent. So I just need to hit 8 and the I, and it dropped in there as 8%.
Oh, okay.
So I want to know how much I'll have in the future. When I wait 8 years, what will be there? So I tell it, compute future value. And that's what will be there. And that's a whole lot easier than doing all that math that we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
Absolutely. That was easier.
Okay. So that's our answer to the first part of A. Number 1A said do it for 8%, but then it goes on and says do it for 10%. So I'm going to walk you through the 10%, and I want you to kind of guide me too.
Okay.
One of the things I recommend you doing is hitting 0
Mm-hmm.
and then touching every one of these buttons. That drops 0 in everything. That's a nice way to make sure you're cleared. There's nothing stored in memory. You don't accidentally leave some leftover number in the calculator.
Mm-hmm.
We could have left the 5,000 in there and the 8 years because that's not going to change. All we wanted to change was the interest rate.
Right.
But just better safe than sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I like to clear it out. You can tell I've made a few mistakes over the years. So tell me how you think we're going to go about computing what'll be there if we get 10% interest.
So we would put in the 5,000, right?
Okay, so I'm typing 5,000.
And we would hit PV for present value.
Right.
And then we are doing 10 years, so we put in 10.
10 is not the number of years though.
Oh, that's
We're gonna keep it
oh,
for 8
It's going to,
that's the percent.
Right.
okay, yeah,
And then
10%.
8 is the number in.
Right.
Okay.
And we didn't need this payment thing, so that's okay to leave it as 0.
Mm-hmm.
And then future value.
We'll come up when you
Just
hit
future
compute.
value. I got to hit something first.
Compute.
Right. Compute future value. And you can see you get a lot more money because the higher interest rate helping you every year. The first answer was something like 9,000 something. This is 10,000 something.
Oh, okay, so the higher the percentage is.
Right.
the more you get at the end of your
Sure.
future value. Oh, okay.
Okay. Look at question B. I bet you can do this one too, right underneath A.
Okay, how we get back to that screen?
Oh, sorry. I've got both screens. I just forget you can't see them. So, part B says you have a 3-year-old grandchild, and you want to give this grandchild $5,000 in an account in a stock, and it's going to just sit there till this child know why. You're going to make the grandchild wait till they're 53 to get the money, but they're trying to tell you what it'll be like if you let money sit for 50 years. Kind of a silly story. I understand letting the kid grow up a little bit until they're 53. So,
50 periods of compounding. So what is
Right.
that?
that means we're going to let that money sit in that account for 50 years because they're 3 years old already.
Okay.
We're going to wait till they're 53. So that's 50 years.
Okay.
So it's just like part A, except we're not going to leave it 8 years.
We're doing 50.
50 years.
Right.
Okay, so how we get back to that other screen?
Okay. Let's go back to our calculator. And I'm going to do the 0 thing in every box just to be safe. Okay.
So we put in 5,000.
Previous value.
And that's present value.
Oh, present
Okay.
value. I'm sorry.
You'll understand more later how that's important, but
Then we put in 50 for N.
yes. And the interest rate on that one was 8%.
Mhm.
So doing exactly what we did before.
Compute
Compute future value.
Perfect.
value.
Look how much money that grows to.
Wow.
Of course, that won't buy as much 50 years later, but it's still a nice chunk of money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Getting the idea of how to figure out what something will be in the future?
Yes.
Okay. You're going to have problems like that in the homework where they'll say you're just going to put this amount of money in the account and leave it alone for so many years at this interest rate.
Okay.
Sometimes the story will be something like you're going to put in so much every year. Like people do for their retirement, they put in something every year towards the retirement and
Yeah.
then want to know what it'll grow to. Where the problems we just looked at are considered like lump sum amounts. Put it
Mm-hmm.
in there once and leave it. The ones we're going to be looking at are annuities, putting it in there every year.
Oh, okay.
So let's go back to our worksheet and you'll see the kind of stories that we're talking about. In part 2, we're still trying to find the future value, but this time of an annuity. So here it says we're going to invest $3,000 every year. We're going to get 9% interest rate, and we're going to do it for 30 years. That alone's a lot of money.
Absolutely.
30 times we're going to put $3,000 in that account. So even without interest, that's going to pile up just putting the money in there.
Mm-hmm.
But then on top of it, the bank or whoever's going to give us 9% interest on all the money in the account. So that's going to pile up to quite a bit of money. So 3,000, 30 years, 9%. We'll run back over to our calculator and start putting stuff in after I clear everything out. And if you remember, it was 30 years and 9%. Now the trick is, what do you do with the amount of money you're putting in every year?
Right.
$3,000. We don't want to hit present value. That would tell the computer we're putting it in one time and waiting 30 years. We want to put it in the payment because we're paying into this IRA or savings account $3,000 every year for 30 years.
Right.
So that's the difference, but we're still doing compute future value.
Hmm.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Okay. And so in the book, as you're reading along, they're going to show you horrid math problems to compute this. They'll tell you to go look at some tables and you can find numbers to do this. Skip all that and just go right to this calculator.
Okay.
Okay?
That works.
That's why I try to catch students before they look at that and say, I'm dropping the class. I saw that algebra. I don't want to do it.
Because I was ready to drop the class after the last sheet.
Well, hopefully we will get things feeling a little better. But I think you're
Yeah,
already on a good handle to understanding what's going on with this.
Yeah, I just need to just get a grasp on everything because I've never done an online class, first of all.
Yeah.
And it's been a long time, so I just got to make everything gel back together and get an understanding of everything that I'm doing because it seemed like it was like a whole lot at one time.
Right.
And I know that's probably the norm for someone new taking an online class.
Because you're learning more things. You're not just learning what the subject of the class is.
Absolutely. I'm excited about it, but like I said, I just got to get in the routine and I got to get just used to everything and make it a gel. That's why I wanted to make sure I was present tonight and to go over everything that's due and, make sure I got it,
And we'll talk about that. I want to get through the concepts of chapter 3 so that you really got a handle on doing that. I think chapter 4 and 6 are pretty simple comparatively. Chapter 6 especially is all about credit cards. What to look for in a credit card, what kind of penalties and fees, and how to manage credit cards well so you don't get in over your head. But a lot of it's just reading that makes a lot of sense when you read it.
Okay.
Chapter 3 isn't one of those that makes a lot of sense just reading it. So that's why I wanted to spend the time on that. And then we can talk about the class in general and what things to do and what's due and when it's due and all that.
Yay!
Okay. So, but even if this doesn't answer every question, or you thought it did and then you get working on it and it doesn't, we can do this again, or you can just call me and we can walk through whatever concept. Okay.
Thank you for that.
In online class, you feel like you're alone, trying to learn it all yourself. You got to remember you're not. You just don't see our faces every day.
That's the truth.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The present value is another concept. This is a little different to think about, but we all kind of do it. If you've got some big goal in mind, maybe it's your kid's college education and you're thinking, oh boy, in 10 years, they're going to be in college and I'm going to need so much money. And you start thinking, what do I need to set aside now?
Mm-hmm.
And I can just stick it in an account and it'll be enough. That's when you need to know present value. You're not asking yourself, how much will this grow to become? You're saying, I know I need a big chunk of money in the future. How much do I need to put aside now?
Right.
Kind of reversing those original stories we were looking at. So let's see if we can. I've even forgotten what I'm showing you. Let's see. Time value of money. Let's go back there. This is the third page, I believe, and it's got the third concept.
Okay.
And the idea is I want to have, or you wish to have, $5,000 in 3 years. So that's your goal. I need to have $5,000 saved up in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I found a savings account that'll give me 3% interest. I want to just put an amount of money in there today. Maybe I'm getting this big bonus and I want to take some of it and stick it in the savings account. And I want it to grow to become $5,000. I don't need to put $5,000 in the account right now because I know it'll get some interest. So I can probably put $4,000 or $4,500 or something like that in, and it'll grow. But if I need to know very specifically how much to put in so I can get exactly $5,000, I'm going to do the math. So we got to remember $5,000 in 3 years at 3%.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to go back over to my calculator. And wipe out everything that's there. And put what I want, $5,000, in the future. So now I'm not computing future value. I know the future value.
Oh,
The
okay.
number of years, and I know the interest rate.
3%.
But I want to compute the present value. So that tells me if I put $4,575 in the bank today, left it there for 3 years, getting 3% interest, it would grow to $5,000. Does that make some sense?
Yep.
It does.
So you just got to remember, you got to read the stories and go, what am I looking for? Do I know the future and I want to find the present? Or do I know the present and I want to find the future?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing to watch for is whether you're going to do something once, a lump sum like this. We'll stick this money in the account one time and leave it there, or whether we're doing something every year.
Mm-hmm.
So watch for keywords like that. Something that says, I'm depositing $5,000. It might say each year. And those two little words, each and year, change the whole story.
Absolutely.
So careful reading is going to make a difference in this kind of problem too.
Okay.
So let's go back and look at our worksheet again. And some of our stories will be a choice, kind of like they say with a lottery. And this one says, you're going to receive $25,000 in 25 years from a relative. They told you that you can either wait until then or take it now. Take some money now. How much money would it be that would make you take it now? Because the relative's not going to offer you $25,000 now or $25,000 later. So that's a kind of an easy one. Take the money now, and if you're really good, you could save it and wait 25 years and not touch it. It would grow to a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So when you've got these, sometimes they'll even tell you a story. Like they'll say you have the choice of $25,000 if you wait 25 years to get it, or they're offering you $5,000 now. Which should you do? And it's hard to know what you should do, but you can't compare money in the future to money now. You got to get them both to now. So the way you're going to do that is we're going to run through the calculator just like we did with the letter A up here.
Yeah, let's do that one because I'm not
Sure.
seeing.
We're going to put $25,000 in the calculator as future value because we're going to get it in the future.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to put 25 years in as N and 5% as interest. And then we're going to ask it, what's the present value of it? So I'm going to switch over to the calculator.
Okay.
Clean out everything that's there. And we're going to possibly get $25,000 in the future, 25 years from now, at 5% interest. And I'm going to compute the present value. That's the same as if we have $7,382 now. Because if we put $7,382 that our relative gave us, remember if that was a choice, wait for this money or get this now, we could take this, go to the bank, get a 5% savings account, shove all this money in there and wait the 25 years, we would have exactly $25,000. And it would be exactly the same as the relative keeping it and not giving it to us until 25 years from now, or us taking it and not touching it for 25 years.
Okay.
I know, a little more confusing.
Right. So what would be the point? I mean,
Well,
you're still only going to get $25,000 either way.
right. But really, this is kind of it doesn't really matter which one. But if the relative offers you anything better than $7,382, then take the money now.
Right.
If they offer you less than that, take them $25,000 in 25 years.
Okay.
Now that is only what the calculator says.
Mm-hmm.
Brain's going to say, okay, there's a lot of difference between having some money now or waiting 25 years to get it.
But if you get that little
problems now.
But it would grow if you get it and take it and leave it in there for those years.
Right. So if you took the 7,000 and let it grow, you'll have 25,000. But if the relative gives you 8,000 and you leave it sit, you're going to have more than 25,000.
right. But like really, when you think about it, if somebody, I mean, you got to be very disciplined, because if somebody just giving you $7,000 or $8,000, who's going to be disciplined enough to put it in there and let it sit for 25 years? Especially if you take it in now, more than likely you're going to spend some of it. You may put some of it in a savings or whatever, but you're going to probably spend some of it. So you're still not going to have the 25,000.
Right.
I think it depends on who, if you need it.
Right.
Maybe someone that don't really need it, they're going to look at it as an automatic, instant investment. But
Right.
someone that's not, like she said, disciplined or used to investing, that's the first thing they might going to go to, like spend. So that's why this class, I think, is going to be very, it's going to be an eye opener for the class, because I can see learning a lot from this, thinking ahead instead of in the present, thinking, more like the future.
And really, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
If you think about it, just like in today's economy, we are all students. Most of us are parents who really just got $7,000 and say, oh, okay, well, I don't need to pay this bill off or do this, So sometimes it don't even come down to discipline. Like you say, if you just have the money, that you can invest it, but most of us don't.
And when you're answering these questions in this chapter, all they're looking for is, what does the calculator say is the best thing to do?
Okay.
Not, thinking of all those other things, you're thinking, this story could be a lot more complex if I started thinking about, well, it'd be good for them to do this, and if they have bills, then they should do this.
Right. Pay off that 19% credit card you get.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have done A and B in this section, and there's a C. So I think you can probably do the C, given what we've seen so far. And we're going to go over and look at the next little section.
Okay.
And it's very similar, except this one has the word annuity in it. So it means that we're going to do something every year. So the story goes, you win a contest and receive $50,000. That you will be paid to you $10,000 a year for 5 years. So you're not getting the whole $50,000 at once. You're getting it every year for 5 years, $10,000. And there's a chance to take a lump sum. Kind of like you hear the lottery people, they can either take so much a year for so many years, or they can just get the whole amount.
Yep, that's me.
But the lump sum is never as big as all that money added up. So that's what they're looking for now, is trying to see what, if it was 7% interest, what's that worth? What would the lump sum be? It's not going to be $50,000. It's going to be something smaller. So we're looking at saying $10,000 every year for 5 years at 7% interest. So those are our key numbers. 10,000, 5 years, 7%.
Okay.
And
I'm just going to keep it real. I'm taking a lump sum. If I
understand. I don't think I could. Depends on how much the yearly payments were. If they were so much that, a couple $1 million every year, I could probably live from January till the next January on a couple million and wait for my next check to come in. But
I wonder with that, if you die or something before you get your full payout, do they pay that to somebody else, or do you just does the estate lose it? See, that's why I'm all about taking a lump sum.
I guess they'd have to look at the fine print. I don't know about all the things. I know that there was some contest or something just said that you could win, and that you designate who the person is that gets it after you.
Yeah, Publishers Clearinghouse.
Is that who it's saying it?
Yeah, I keep up
I
with
was
it.
going to say, they probably have you to designate a person when you first win the money or whatever. They have someone, down as a
Beneficiary?
Yeah, beneficiary.
I'd make sure they were really young.
Right, right,
I think
exactly.
for a
My
lot of
mom-
years. I wouldn't pick the 90-year-old grandma who gets it. Maybe she gets 3 years of it. So we get our amounts, and we're going to get $10,000 a year. So that's the payment. Even though it's a payment to us, it's still going in here because that's where we put what happens per year.
Mhm.
And it's going to happen 5 times over 5 years.
Mhm.
And I'm going back to look at our interest rate.
7%.
7%. And now we want to know how much that's worth today.
Today. Mhm.
So that's the same as getting $41,000 lump sum. Remember, this totals $50,000 if we wait all those years.
Yeah. Mm.
So that's not a bad reduction.
I can live off of that. I can let that 9,000 go.
And the second part of it says, how would the answer be different if the interest rate was 8%? So all they're doing is the same story, just changing the interest rate. Since we already have everything typed in, I can just do an 8 and go to interest, and it'll replace the 7 with an 8.
Okay.
And I can compute present value.
Mhm.
The higher the interest rate, the more it deducts to get down to the lump sum.
Oh, okay. Mhm.
I was
Yeah, a little bit different, but it's still a chunk of money. It's only changed a couple $1,000s. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at different situations. Sometimes you'll know the future and you need to find the present. Sometimes you'll know the present and need to find the future. So look at those story problems, see if you can work some. Work the end of chapter 3 homework. I would not even look at chapter 4 or 6 until you've practiced 3. That way you're not putting 3 chapters worth of stuff in your brain, trying to keep it all straight, and then looking at the homework on it. You might even find that you want to only read 1/3 of the chapter and then do some homework about that 1/3 of the chapter, and then read a little bit more of the chapter. Practice some problems on that. And just kind of slowly work your way through the chapter.
Okay, that makes sense.
The other chapters are not so intense. They're more good, common, practical sense. You're going to see charts about how to be really wise with your credit cards in chapter 6. That may be something you can sit down and read in an evening and go, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
But chapter 3 is one of those things you might have to practice to make it make some sense.
Okay, so chapter 3 is mainly just problems like this,
Yes.
and then chapter 4 and chapter 6 are those like questions we got to write out, or
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to look at
That's
it.
okay. Let me go out to Moodle. I'm going to share the screen. This time we're going to look at Moodle.
Okay.
And somewhere here I've got Moodle open. This must be it. No. Here we go. Are you able to see the Moodle page?
Yes.
Okay, so this is Unit 2, and you've got the homework from the textbook. That's what text responses mean. You've got the forum where you got to answer the question, and it's about credit cards. Then your personal financial plan, we'll click on that in a minute. The time value of money, and then your group work. So let's take them one at a time and talk about what that means you got to do.
Okay.
The Unit 2 text responses, if you click that, and it's going to take a second. We'll get a lot of stuff going on the computer. My screen's going to look a little different than yours, but you will see the summary. It says that you need to submit, and don't worry about PDF, just submit the document. Whether you type it out in Microsoft Word, whether you use Excel, whatever way is comfortable for you, you need to go to chapter 3 and answer some questions. And they're on pages 85, 86, and 87. And they're called problems and activities. And you need to do 1, 2, 4, 5, 13, and 14. So just a few of them. It's not every single one on the page, just a few of them that were selected. And they're going to be a lot like that worksheet we just looked at.
Okay.
So those ones are going to be saying, go and compute the present value or figure out how much money you'll have after 10 years, or those kind of, they'll be math kind of questions.
Okay. Yep, I'm looking at that now.
Chapter 4 is all about taxes. It has some to do with math and some of it to do with just being wise with your taxes.
Okay.
And the same thing, you've got a couple pages at the end of chapter 4,
Mm-hmm.
and you're supposed to answer 4 questions. Number 3, 5, 10, and 11.
Okay, yeah, because it wants you to calculate a tax and.
Right. But I would say practice 3, get 3 over with, then start learning and reading
Right.
4. And if you need to, we can get together and talk about 4 and learn a little bit more about taxes and the areas that you're stuck on.
Mm-hmm.
But tonight, if I put that in your brain too, I think it would scramble
Right.
around there. You kind of need
Not too
one
much,
page
not
about that, so-
Not too much, not too fast.
Exactly. Chapter 6, like I said, is all about credit cards, and more than likely your discussion pace here. Those are usually, they give you the scenario like you're this financial advisor and
Right.
people are coming to you for your wisdom. So they'll tell you the whole story. Mr. and Mrs. Smith came to visit you and this is their scenario. Please tell them what to do. And so there's 10 questions that you're supposed to help them sort out. You're supposed to give them advice.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay? Does that seem a little more manageable?
Yes.
Okay. When those are done, you just submit them at this link. You will see an actual way to submit them when you click this link. You're seeing the teacher view, so it looks a little different.
Okay.
Okay, so when we do this,
Mhm.
so when we answer the
Those questions we just
when
talked about?
we do those, you're saying that we can go to that. Yeah, you said we can go to that link and
Mhm.
we can go there and submit it.
Right.
So we
Yeah.
actually doing them? Are we answering them in here, or are we? This is something we just writing
Right. Grab Microsoft Word, open it up, and start typing.
down.
Number 1, here's my answer. Number 2.
I mean, okay, you're saying that we have to save it. Okay.
Sarita, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, me either.
I'm sorry. I know it kind of blinked out there for a minute. I'm sorry. I guess, okay, so click back where you were. I just want to
Sure.
make sure. Can you go back to where you were, please?
Yep.
For Unit 2, the text responses.
Yes.
Okay, so like, say for instance, we have to read chapter 3, okay, and answer the problems and activities on 1, 2, 3, 4, and 13, and 14. Okay, so how are we submitting?
Let me
saying
open up Microsoft Word for a minute and pretend
Oh.
I'm doing that, okay?
Yeah, you can make a Word document and then just submit it on the Turnitin or
Right,
send it
let's
to her
say,
in an email.
In Microsoft Word here, I get a new blank document going, and I'll put my name on it and say Unit 2's text responses. And I'll say Chapter 3. I don't even remember what the first question number is, but question 1. And we know question 1's and Chapter 3 is probably going to be a math thing. So let's say your answer is $5,000. And then question 2, and whatever your number comes out to be. I'm just making up stuff as we go. And then put chapter 4 in here and start giving your answers to those ones. Chapter 6. Type out your answers, save it, and upload the file here. Sarita, does that make sense?
I don't know. I don't know if we lost her or if everybody
Yeah.
was up.
Oh, her picture's not even there. Yeah, we might have completely lost her. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully she'll play through the video and can pick up the few things that we talked about that she wasn't here for.
Okay.
Okay, it's back. Okay.
Oh,
okay.
great.
I had lost you for a minute.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So we were just
Yeah.
talking about filling out the Microsoft Word sheet, just typing our answers, saving them, and uploading them back here in Moodle.
Okay. Okay, so we're gonna save them in Word, type them in Word, and then we're gonna upload them to where in Moodle?
You will click on, let me go back in here and scroll down to Unit 2. And when you click on this, the same place I've been clicking, you'll see a spot to upload it.
Yeah, to say submit file, and you can submit it through there. Or if it doesn't work, you can send it to her in an email. That's what I had to do for the last class.
I think I read that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you have any trouble, just let me know. But you should be able to find the instructions here on uploading them. You can always email me if something gives you error messages.
Okay.
And are you both okay with the forum? I know that you found the introduction forum to Rita. This is where you answer other people's comments. You answer the discussion question, and then you comment on other people's comments.
I think I did that last week. That was in the was that in the okay. I think I did do that.
Yeah. I think you're both okay with that. The personal financial plan, that's you working on your final paper. Each week you have a little bit that you're supposed to get done for it. So we'll click this one and see what Unit 2 says to do. Just taking a second to upload. It says this week, work on your personal income statement, your balance sheet, and your budget. So those, you can use the worksheets that were given to you, some Excel spreadsheets that were pre-formatted, and fill them in. They'll guide you along. And you're really trying to lay this out because your final paper is you analyzing where you're at and where you need to go on your personal finances. So you need this kind of stuff to help guide you.
Okay.
And then if we go back to where we were, time value of money worksheet, the same thing we were looking at and the problems we were doing during the first part of this, you're going to submit it here. The same little icon indicates as a Dropbox for you to submit a document to your instructor. And then Unit 2 case is again stuff from the textbook. At the end of several chapters, I think in the first one, might be after chapter 3 or 4. Yeah, it's at the end of chapter 4. You're going to be looking at a couple, Corey and Tisha, and you are their financial advisors, you and your group. And you're giving them advice, and you'll give it at about 4 different spots throughout the textbook. So you're going to learn a few chapters, so you're wise, and then you can impart your advice to them. They'll give you some background about the couple, and then they'll tell you some specific things you're supposed to talk to them about. So your group just types up your answers to those.
What happened with the case 1 study? Where do we submit that at? Because I thought you said that wasn't due until this week. So we got 2.
Right. No, this is actually the first one at the end of chapter 4.
Okay.
So this
what
is
about the one from Unit 1?
I'm sorry?
What about the one from Unit 1? We had a
Group 1 just said, go look at these cases and get familiar because you're going to need to work with them in Unit 2.
Can you look at Unit 1? Because I thought it had questions for Unit 1, but I guess I could
let's go back and take a look.
Okay. I thought it had like 16 questions. Maybe I'm just confused.
That's okay. Unit 1.
About like me.
Group work, weekly case studies. And it says, during the 5 weeks, you're going to be doing this, and here are the pages it's going to be on, and you'll submit stuff, but starting in Unit 2, you're actually going to turn some stuff in.
Oh, okay. So we just had to familiarize ourselves with this couple.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's a lot about their life. You'll learn how many kids they've got, what jobs they have, how old they are, what their goals are in life. You know, all the stuff you'd need to know if you're going to be their advisor.
Okay. I don't want to be nobody's advisor, but I'm going to go through it.
Okay.
Anyway, let us learn this stuff, and then we'll see.
Right. Okay, ladies, try to work on what we've talked about, and just let me know when you're ready to move on to the next thing. You're like, okay, I think I conquered this part, but I'm still stuck on this part. And then we can talk about the next section, okay?
Yes, this was so very helpful. This is
It
going to
was.
make this week very much more simpler than I thought, because I'm telling you, I was ready to drop this class.
I know. I told her that last week. I felt like, I was like, oh my gosh, I already feel behind, but
Yeah.
it made a lot of sense.
Good.
Yeah, this helped out a lot. So I hope other people watch the video, because it was very, very helpful. And even that calculator is going to make it much easier to do this, because I know my friend Danielle was saying, I hate math. So it'll be good. I'll be able to get with her tomorrow and explain to her it's really not going to be that bad.
Right.
So I don't know, Donna, do we have time to look over last week's spreadsheet for the Faith Brooks girl, that balance sheet we were supposed to do for her?
You know what? Let me see if I can find it, and I will send it to you.
Okay.
Because I don't think I have it handy. I think I've got it on a CD.
Okay, because we had to do the balance sheet and the simplified income statement worksheet. If you could just maybe, make some notes and send it to me, whatever out there. Because I got really confused, because like for the mortgage, I wasn't sure if we were supposed to use the $50,000 balance or the $530 payment per month. The same with the automobile. And so I think my ratios were off. So if you could just do that, that's fine. We don't have to go over it tonight. I just kind of want to get a handle on that, so I'll know what to do when I'm doing mine for this.
I understand. Right. I will get those to you. And, when you see a grade in the grade book for your assignments, you can click on that grade, or what even better, you can click on the link where you first submitted it. And it will open up and show you my notes.
Right.
Comment and correction I make.
Okay.
So make sure you do that. You won't just look at the grade, the number means hardly anything. So, okay, I got 84 points on that. That's exciting. But when you get to open up, then you'll be able to see, oh, that's what I was supposed to do.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay.
This has been great. I could do this every night.
I know, we need it every night. Okay, so Donna, all this is due when?
Everything is always due Monday night.
By midnight. Yeah.
Right, because Tuesday will start our next week.
Okay, I guess we ought to get the ball rolling then.
Right.
Okay, well, keep working on trying to contact your groups, and I'll keep working on trying to round people up and get them motivated. And
thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, Donna.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.